Attention passionate Philadelphia, EAGLES. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Philadelphia Eagles' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Philadelphia Eagles fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Philadelphia, EAGLESFANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. When we talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, we're not just talking about a team with a rich history or a passionate fan base. No, we're talking about a squad that's constantly evolving, always looking for that edge, that extra piece that could push them over the top. And in recent weeks, the Eagles have been making some moves that could very well shape their future, especially when it comes to their wide receiver room, which has been a topic of intense discussion among fans, analysts, and even the players themselves. It's not just about adding numbers. It's about strategic moves, about building a team that can compete at the highest level, especially in the NFC, which has only gotten tougher since last season. You see, the Eagles, like many teams, have had to deal with the realities of the NFL's ever-changing landscape. They're coming off a season that saw them reach the NFC Championship, falling just short of the Super Bowl, but that's the kind of motivation that keeps a team hungry. They know they're close, and every move they make is with that Super Bowl ring in mind. But one of their biggest challenges has been filling that third wide receiver spot, that WR3 role that's often overlooked, but is absolutely crucial in today's NFL. You need a guy who can step up, make plays, and keep defenses honest. And folks, that's where the recent moves come into play. Just a few weeks before the season started, the Eagles pulled off a trade that caught a lot of people off guard. They sent a 2025 third-round pick and a couple of seventh-rounders to the Washington Commanders in exchange for Jahan Dotson, a former first-round pick out of Penn State. Now, at first glance, that might seem like a gamble, especially considering Dotson's inconsistent production in the regular season. He played all 17 games last year, but only managed 19 receptions for 216 yards and no touchdowns. That's not exactly eye-popping numbers, right? But what makes this move interesting is the context. Dotson, despite those modest stats, showed flashes of brilliance in the postseason, helping the Eagles push to the Super Bowl, and it's clear that the coaching staff saw potential in him that could be unlocked with the right system and confidence. However, the Eagles' decision to decline the fifth-year option on Dotson's contract earlier this year signals that they're not entirely sold on him being the definitive WR3 for the long term. It's a clear indication that they're still exploring options, whether through trades, free agency, or the draft, to find that reliable third receiver who can step in and produce immediately. And to be fair, that's a common scenario in the NFL. Teams are always looking to upgrade, to add that missing piece that can make a difference in tight games, especially in the playoffs. So, even with Dotson's playoff heroics, the Eagles are aware that they need more consistency at that position. That's why many fans are buzzing about potential moves in free agency, and one name that's been gaining traction is veteran wide receiver DJ Chark. Chark, a player who's been through some ups and downs in his career, but has shown he can be a game-changer when healthy, could be a perfect fit for the Eagles' offense. Last year, he played a limited role with the Chargers, only 7 games, with just 4 receptions for 31 yards, and battling a shoulder injury that hampered his season. But don't let those numbers fool you. Chark's career highlights include a Pro Bowl season in 2019 with the Jacksonville Jaguars, where he caught 73 passes for over 1,000 yards and scored 8 touchdowns. That season put him firmly on the map as a legitimate deep threat and explosive receiver. Since then, Chark has been a steady producer, even if he hasn't quite reached those peak heights again. In 2023, with the Carolina Panthers, he caught 35 passes for 525 yards and 15 touchdowns in 15 games, a solid, impactful season. And what's really attractive for the Eagles is his price tag. Chark isn't going to demand a huge contract. Last year he played on a 1-year deal worth $3 million with the Chargers, and he's been very clear about wanting to prove himself again. An affordable, experienced option who can step into that WR3 role and provide immediate production. That's exactly the kind of move that could tip the scales in favor of the Eagles. Now, you might be wondering, what about the draft? Well, the Eagles haven't drafted a wide receiver in the past 4 years, which is quite unusual for a team that's been consistently competitive. Their last addition was Aeneas Smith in the 5th round of 2024, but as a rookie, he only caught 7 passes for 41 yards and a touchdown. So, the emphasis has been on developing their core guys like A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, who are widely considered 2 of the top receivers in the NFL today. Brown coming off a 500-yard season, and Smith, who's been spectacular in his own right, form a dynamic duo that defenses have to game plan around constantly. But the concern remains, who's going to be that dependable third guy who can step up when needed? And that's where the Eagles' front office has to be smart. They have a talented roster, but depth at the wide receiver position is crucial, especially when injuries happen or defenses adapt. The NFL is a game of matchups, and having that versatile WR3 can be the difference between a deep playoff run and an early exit. The team's coaching staff, led by head coach Nick Sirianni, has shown a knack for maximizing their players' strengths, but even the best coaches need reliable talent. With that in mind, the Eagles' options for filling that WR3 spot are still very much open. They could sign a veteran like DJ Chark, who, as I mentioned, is proven and affordable, or they might swing a trade for another offseason target. There are also younger prospects who could develop into that role, but experience and proven production tend to be prioritized, especially when trying to contend for a Super Bowl. This move to bolster the receiver core is not just about filling a roster spot, it's about reinforcing their entire offensive strategy. With Jalen Hurts leading the charge, the Eagles want to keep defenses guessing. Having reliable targets beyond Brown and Smith allows them to diversify their attack, keep the chains moving, and open up opportunities for big plays. It's also about maintaining that mental edge, knowing that they've got capable players who can step up in crucial moments. Now, let's talk about the bigger picture. The NFC has become a gauntlet, with teams like the 49ers, Cowboys, and the revamped Lions all vying for supremacy. The Eagles, having been one of the most consistent teams in recent years, are still viewed as one of the favorites, but every little detail counts. Improving the WR3 spot might seem like a small detail, but it's a move that can have ripple effects throughout the entire team's performance in 2024 and beyond. And don't forget, the Eagles have a history of making smart, calculated moves. They've built a roster that balances youth and experience, star power and depth. Their front office, led by Howie Roseman, is known for being aggressive in free agency and shrewd in trades, always looking for that edge. So, it wouldn't be surprising at all if they pull the trigger on a veteran signing like Chark or swing a late trade to bring in a player who can immediately contribute. As the season approaches, fans are naturally excited, but there's also a sense of anticipation. The Eagles are a team that believes in continuous improvement, in pushing every boundary to reach their ultimate goal, a Super Bowl championship. Every offseason move, every draft pick, is part of that larger puzzle. And right now, that puzzle includes finding that dependable WR3 who can complement Brown and Smith, someone who can not only catch passes, but also stretch the field and create mismatches. So, as we keep an eye on the Eagles' offseason moves, keep in mind that this team isn't standing still. They're always looking for ways to get better, to adapt, and to stay ahead of their division rivals. The NFC East is fierce, with the Cowboys, Giants, and Commanders all trying to carve out their own pieces of the pie, but the Eagles have shown they're a team that's willing to do what it takes to stay on top. And that's what makes this offseason so fascinating. Every move, every signing, every trade could be the one that propels them back into Super Bowl contention. Pause here, just for a second. If you want the YOUTUB algorithm to keep recommending the latest Philadelphia Eagles news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick, and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. Looking ahead, the Eagles fan base is buzzing with excitement, and rightfully so. They've been spoiled with great seasons lately, but they also know that maintaining that level of success requires constant vigilance and smart decision-making. The move to potentially add a veteran like DJ Chark is just one piece of a larger puzzle, but it's a very important one. It speaks to the Eagles' philosophy of building a balanced, explosive offense that can adapt to any defense thrown at them. And it's not just about this season, it's about setting up the future. Jalen Hurts, their franchise quarterback, is entering a pivotal year. The team's success hinges on having reliable weapons that can help him maximize his talents. The wide receiver position, especially that third spot, is crucial for spreading the field and keeping defenses honest. Think about it, with Brown and Smith commanding so much attention, a guy like Chark or even a developing rookie can find more space to make those big plays that can turn the tide of a game. Of course, many fans are also curious about how the draft might influence things. The Eagles have been selective, focusing more on depth and development rather than reaching for flashy picks. That's a smart approach, especially considering how well they've built their core. But they're always open to surprises, maybe a late-round gem, a trade target, or even signing a free agent who becomes an immediate difference-maker. It's that flexibility that keeps them competitive year after year. In conclusion, what we're witnessing right now is a team that's meticulously crafting its roster, making strategic moves that could pay off huge in the long run. The NFL is a league where the smallest details can make the biggest difference, and the Eagles know that better than anyone. They're not just settling for being good, they want to be great. They want that Super Bowl trophy back in Philadelphia, and every decision they make in this offseason is a step toward that goal. So, Eagles fans, keep your eyes peeled and your spirits high. The offseason is just getting started, and there's plenty more news, rumors, and updates on the horizon. Whether it's free agents, trades, or draft picks, you can bet your last dollar that the Eagles are in the mix, always looking for ways to improve, always aiming for that next championship. And I'll be here to bring you all the latest, so make sure you stay tuned, subscribe, and be part of this incredible journey. Because the best is yet to come for the Philadelphia Eagles, and I can't wait to see how they write their next chapter in NFL history. And now, Philadelphia Eagles fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Philadelphia Eagles. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Philadelphia Eagles news.